What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another box breakdown. This is box breakdown number 14. This box is, I think, arguably the best box yet. In this box, you have a $69 value, so you're getting a serious bang for your buck, especially if you're a new monthly subscriber. You got the $30 mystery item, so you got a $100 value for just 39 bucks. We're gonna go ahead, break everything down. There you guys go, your limited edition sticker. Super cool right there. And you got your value card as well. So let's go ahead, dive into all these baits here, and I'm gonna show you guys how, when, and where to use these baits. So we'll just do a quick rundown. We got the Bass Reaper Bait Co. Coffin Crawfish. Everyone got a different color. This one right here is the Disco Melon. We've got the Excite Baits 4-inch Shad Nasty Smoke Show. You've got the hooks right here by Lunker Hunt to pair with those, the 3/0 wide gap offsets. We have a Missile Jigs. This is the Ike's Head Banger Jig in a 3/4 ounce, so that actually pairs up with those Bass Reaper Bait Co. Coffin Craws. We have a new bait partner for this month. We got Hendrix Fishing. This is the Voodoo Frog. These frogs are really awesome, bad to the bone. Then you got your 4 Fish Guy baits of the month. You got a Popper, the Adrenaline Junkie, you got the Raging Minnow, you got the Blazing Minnow, and you got the Banana Split. So let's break down each of these. We're gonna go ahead, start right here. You got your jig and you got your trailers to pair with it. Now, September is a very tricky month for bass fishing. It's kind of in that transition phase where it's going from super hot into cooler weather here in the fall. So the fish are kind of all spread out. Some are still up shallow, some are still hanging in the vegetation, some are out deep. To sum it up, the fish are basically very, very spread out. And that's why with this box right here, I have you guys covered for absolutely anything. And starting with the jig here, I'm gonna go ahead, take this jig out of the packaging here, and I'm gonna show you guys how to rig it. Throw that on, make sure you dispose of your trash responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. Grab a coffin craw, just like that. Now, in order to rig this, you got 2 sides of your craw. The one that's really ribbed is the bottom. This flatter one is the top. So you want the flat one to be on the top of your jig. So here's how you're gonna do it. Get the skirt down straight, pull back that weed guard a little bit so you have room to work, and you're just gonna go dead center of the coffin craw and work that puppy up to right about there. Pop it out dead center of the bait, and then you have this little stopper right here. You're gonna push it up onto that, and that'll actually secure your craw on there. And you want just a nice flush, perfectly centered bait. Put the skirt back over it, and you're left with a beautiful, beautiful jig right there. So now that you've got your bait right here, I'm gonna show you guys how you should fish it. And now, for example, let's just say this was all a bunch of lily pads. This bait is designed to be tossed out there and shoot right down through it. So once you get down to the bottom, it's really just a steady little pop, 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 pull it up off the bottom and let it fall back down. Reel your slack in, pop, 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 pull it all up, pull it up off the bottom and let it fall back down. So if you see some weeds or a lot of cover, just flip this thing out into them, let it fall down to the bottom. Once you feel it hit the bottom, just like this, pop, 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 pull it up, let it fall back down. Pop, 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 let it fall back down. If you want to get crazy with it, you can flip it out there, let it hit the bottom, and do a nice big pull way up high, and then let it shoot back down to the bottom. But you're gonna wanna fish this thing. This is a bait you can fish any time of the day, but you wanna fish this ideally in some vegetation. You can fish it in open water as well, but this bait really tends to shine when those fish are still hanging around those lily pads in the grass. You can throw this thing out there, it'll get you down onto the bottom, and you can work that area. Moving right along into the third bait in your box, we have the Hendrix Fishing Voodoo Frog. Now these guys send us some really awesome colors. I just took the standard one here, but they sent us some all white, they sent us some all red, they sent us some black ones. Just a really cool variety of colors. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to use this. This is a bait you wanna fish near the bank or on top of vegetation. So if you see the fish are feeding a lot on the surface in the lily pads, or if you pull up to a lake and it's literally strictly just covered in weeds, that doesn't mean there's no fish there. Typically, that's a great spot for fish to be. So a bait like this topwater frog here is an excellent, excellent bait of choice to use. And I'm gonna show you guys how to fish it right now. For me, whenever I'm fishing a frog, I like to make long, long casts. And what I'm doing with this frog here is I'm just swimming it like this. I'm reeling it steady, and I'm just twitching the top of my rod like that, and then I'll pause it. and I'll let it sit there for a little bit, maybe 1-2 second count, and then get it going again. Twitch, 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 and that thing just looks like he's swimming along the surface. Pause it, and get her going again. Just like that. Look at that frog just swimming. That is one hell of a good looking frog. So the frog, the best way to fish it is get it, cast it out there, swim it into you by reeling and twitching the rod very smoothly, give it a pause, and get it going again. So you want to fish this bait. This is a bait you can fish early in the morning, late in the evening, or in the middle of the day. This bait just really shines when you're fishing in a heck of a lot of cover, whether you're on a bank or you're out in the middle of a lake. Topwater frog, a bass simply cannot resist. Moving right into the next bait, another topwater. This is the Adrenaline Junkie. Now we named that because when the fish hit this thing, they absolutely pipe it. It's a topwater bite. This is a popping style bait, which this is such a good bait for this time of the year. This bait right here has a little feather on the end of the bait, which I'm not too sure if you guys can see. It's a little wet there, so it's not, you know, nice and frailed up, but this does an excellent job of mimicking a school of bait fish or just a frantic bait fish on the surface. This is a bait you must fish in open water with no weeds. I'm not saying you can't fish along the bank, you have to fish it in the middle. I'm just saying you got to fish it with no vegetation around, because this thing has 2 treble hooks that absolutely love to hook anything that it touches. So that's great. If a fish touches it, he's gonna get hooked. I can promise you guys that. Poppers, I find to fish best, to give your best chance at catching fish, is low light periods. Early morning, late evening. I mean, yes, you can catch fish on topwater all day long, but if I'm gonna just go out for an hour and I wanna throw a popper, I'm gonna put myself in the best case scenario, and that is gonna be low light periods. So early morning, late evening, make long casts, and really all you're doing is just popping the rod. Now, it really just depends on the fish's behavior. If you see them feeding on the surface and they're going fast, they're all fired up, you can pop this thing, you know, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, and really pop it quick. Or if things are a little bit slower, it's just a little pop. You want to see your popper splash, reel the slack in, wait a second or two, pop it, let it splash, wait a second or two, pop it, let it splash. But it really just depends on the fish's behavior. If they're really fired up, you know, pop it 3 times, then pause it, pop it 3 more times, pause it, pop it once. It's all about switching it up. That's the biggest thing, because you could be fishing all day, and if you're working it slow, you're not getting any bites. As soon as you start working it quicker, fires the fish up, boom, you're catching 10 fish in just 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So cast it out there just like this, let it hit the water, and just pull it and watch that thing shoot water. Pull it, watch that thing shoot water, and as soon as you pull it, you're gonna get blown up. The popper is such a fun bait to use. It gets your adrenaline absolutely pumping, and it's just a fish magnet. Moving right along, we're going right into the Excite Baits Shad Nasty. This is a 4-inch swim bait profile, and let me tell you guys what, this is such an awesome bait for any time of the year. It just mimics a bait fish so freaking well. You've got your Lunker Hunt 3.0 wide gap offset hooks to pair with this bait right here. So I'm gonna grab one of these out, I'm gonna grab a Shad Nasty, and I'm gonna show you guys how to rig this excellent bait here. So there you guys have it. There is the Shad Nasty out of the packaging, and right here you see the gray, that is the top of the bait, that's the back of the bait, and right here is the silver with this little hook slit right here. This little slit, that's where your hook is. So first thing you want to do is line your hook up so you kind of get an idea of where you're going to be popping everything out. So I have a little bit of an idea. Let me go ahead and get to work. So you start with the bottom of the bait facing you with that slit, and with the hook point, you know, on that side of the bait. So you're going to go dead center, just like that. Go in just until you start making that turn and pop it out, just like that. You got it popped up. Feed that bait up all the way into that groove. Now once you get here, you're gonna twist the hook and push it up as well simultaneously, so it kind of looks a little bit like that. And you have, you know, you have your eye of the hook still barely exposed. I do recommend tying your hook onto your line before you do this, but if you don't, that's okay, you can still make it happen. So now you got it just like that. You got your hook basically in there. All you gotta do is just get it secured. What you're gonna do is see where it's gonna pop out. So it's gonna pop out somewhere right around here. So right at the back of that slit. So you're just gonna fold that bait push it right through, pop it out, and just like that, you have your Shad Nasty ready to roll. Now, I always like to push it down like this and then push the bait forward and then pull it back, just so you can get that tip of the hook in the bait so it's completely weedless. But when a fish bites it, that hook's gonna pop right out and you're just gonna be able to drive that hook right through his mouth. So I'm gonna show you guys how to use this puppy. This is a super easy bait to fish, just like pretty much all the rest of the baits that we have left inside the box. They're all very simple, but very effective. I got a tip wrap, there we go. What you're gonna do with this bait, cast it on out there, boom. Some people like to let it sink all the way down to the bottom. For me, it's really just gonna depend on the given day. If it's my first cast of the day, I'm gonna cast it out there and I'm just gonna start reeling it. Nice and easy, just about this speed right here. Just like that. And you wanna just make sure that your bait is swimming properly. You wanna just make sure that your bait has that nice little wobble. So for some people's fishing reels, it's reeled a little bit slower, but for mine, right at about this speed right here is absolutely textbook. Now we have it rigged weedless, so you can fish this in the vegetation, you can skip it under docks, you can fish it really just about anywhere, and you don't need to worry about it getting hung up. But this is a bait as well you can fish any time of the day, just about anywhere, and you're gonna be catching fish. This is a universal bait fish imitation, and you guys are gonna get tight. All three of these baits are fished the exact same way, super simple. Cast it out there as far as you can or wherever you see the fish feeding, and you're just gonna steady reel it. That's all you're gonna do. There's not really any twitching involved whatsoever. All you do is just give it a steady retrieve, and you want your baits to just be vibrating and wobbling side to side. Now let's talk about why you have all three of these in there. Let's start with the banana split. The banana split right here is a square bill crankbait. So this bait actually can be fished very well over rocks and sticks, because that square bill typically does bounce over the rocks rather than, you know, a regular crankbait can get stuck. This one's a little bit more flattened on the bottom. So if you're fishing a rocky shoreline, be sure to give this one a try. You'll be able to bump those rocks where those fish are sitting and you're not gonna get hung up. So this one you're gonna fish and you're gonna be able to hit bottom and not be able to get hung up. Now this bait should be looking like this as it's swimming through the water. Just a nice little tight wobble side to side. You don't want it to be flipping on its side. If it starts to flip on the side, that means you're reeling it too quick. So just slow your retrieve down a little bit. But once you find that perfect little retrieve, this thing is gonna be a magnet to those bass. Moving right along into the Raging Shad, fish the exact same way, cast it out there, reel it in nice at a steady pace, and it should be looking like this right now on the screen, just a nice wobble side to side. Same thing, if it's turning on its side, that's not what you want. You're reeling it too quickly, so slow it down a little bit. You just want a nice tight little wobble, and you guys can fish this thing, all three of these crankbaits, at any time of the day. Does not matter whatsoever. This is just a little bit bigger of a profile rather than everything else you have right here. So if you see bigger bait fish in the water, be sure to fish the Raging Shad. Last but certainly not least, you have the lipless crankbait. This is the Blazin' Minnow. Again, super easy, steady retrieve, nice and easy. Just cast it out there, reel it in. This one you can fish just about anywhere. All three of these have treble hooks, so just be mindful if you're fishing in any sort of vegetation, just be mindful. These are gonna pick them up, but this bait right here is super duper effective. So just cast it out there, reel it in. You guys are gonna get bites, I promise you. So there you guys have it. Box 14 breakdown is complete. Please, if you have any questions at all, leave them down below in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to you guys. My job here is to help you guys catch more fish, and that's exactly what I have a passion for. I love seeing you guys catching fish and sharing it in the exclusive Facebook group, or posting it on Instagram and tagging us at @_fish guys. If you want to enter into the giveaway, all you got to do is catch a fish, hold your box, post it on Instagram or in the Facebook group, and you'll be entered into winning this month's giveaway prize, which is this fishing bag right here popping up on the screen. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck out there and happy fishing.